Welcome to Blunt Force with Giazilla Rawrr. I am your forever indebted host, Giazilla. Sadly, the hippie is out today. He has teeth issues again. It's awful. I feel really bad for him. I understand the pain of not having decent or adequate dental insurance. Ironically, he and I were going to do a show regarding poverty in America and how there are ways that we could improve services to people that wouldn't cost us a lot of extra money. And one of those ideas that we'll present on a future episode is dental care for everybody, because it's it's a burden on the hospital system if people don't have good dental care. It's painful. Nobody should have to go through it. And it's part of our body. So if mental health services are recognized, then why aren't dental health services recognized? It doesn't make any sense to me. So, again, that will be an episode where I sit here and chat my face off about how fucked up everything is. But for today, I am going to do my best to do the show by myself until my good friend Michelle calls in about 20 or 30 minutes. Who knows what we're going to talk about? We've known each other since we were like 12, so the conversation can go anywhere. But I think the subject matter is going to be Internet Dating Horror Stories Part 1. We did a show on that in the past, but the audio was really not good, so we scrapped it. So hopefully we'll get this audio working out with her calling in. But first I wanted to talk about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, aka EDS, is a series of connective tissue disorders that, oh gosh, I'm not an expert on this. My son has a very severe case of classic EDS. There are different classifications. It's spelled EHLERS, and then the second word is DANLOS. And the primary characteristics, if you've ever been told that you or someone you know is double jointed, that's kind of a misnomer. You might have a connective tissue disorder, so your body's not producing as much collagen as it should, and things get haywire and they go wacky. So if you're highly flexible, have very soft skin, find that you bruise very easily, if any of your joints pop out of socket or come loose, that can show to collagen laxicity. Now I have a problem. I could pick up a salt shaker and my finger will pop out of socket. And I've had my shoulders and my hips and other joints pop out. My hands are the worst. If I'm doing the dishes, sometimes my thumb will come out. And sometimes I won't even notice it because I can't feel it. I know that's really gross. But when you're young and this stuff starts happening to you, for me anyway, it was a lot more painful. Now everything's kind of loose, so it just kind of pops in and out. But yeah, it's great. Show off at a party. What they call Eric calls them his parlor tricks. I do not encourage anybody to be popping their joints in or out of socket. That will make things worse over time. If you have this condition, it could happen on its own, and that's it's difficult. It's a difficult one to have. But anyways, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because in the news today, I was sent an article by my daughter-in-law about a girl. I assume she's a girl because she was at dinner or at lunch with her parents. She might have been, I don't know her age. Didn't give that detail. But I'm pulling up the article right now because essentially what happened is she went into a restaurant and she ordered something to drink, of course, and she asked for a straw because to lift the glass and drink from it, it's just too hard on her hands. And the waitress denied her the straw. She said she didn't believe that she was disabled enough. Because the girl explained to her, hey, I need this because of my disability. She said, well, you looked fine when you walked in here. And this girl is at Ehlers-Danlos Girl on Twitter. she's been getting a lot of attention since she told her story because it's BS. And, of course, all of us want to stand up and protect her, and we want to know the name of this restaurant. Do you remember, I think it was in the 90s, when Denny's was discriminatory against African Americans? And, they got sued over that, and maybe that's why this family is not releasing the name of the restaurant. But, because they may be planning on litigation, so it'd be wise of them not to. But Denny's, I saw a commercial the other day, and it was entirely African American cast, and it was like, "Hey, we want you here, we love you," that kind of message. And it's like, yeah, you damn right better give that kind of a message after one of your restaurants refused to serve people out of ignorance. I don't know if it was ever disclosed how much they paid out because it doesn't come to the top of my memory, but in that situation, I believe a group of African American, and others came in to eat, and the African American kids in the group, I think they were like maybe high school athletes or just in college. I can't remember the story. I have brain stuffs. But they did not treat the African American clientele very well. And everybody was outraged about it, as they should have been. And as we are for at Alice Dowler's girl. And what happened to her? She said the waitress had one in her apron. As she poured the water, I asked, "Excuse me, miss, can I have a straw?" She said, "We can't just give them out," and walked away. And then she says, "I was declined a straw at a restaurant this morning, and the waitress had one in her apron." You know, in her apron, and she can't. Why does she have it in her apron if she can't give it to her? So, the article goes on to say that there are many straw bans prohibiting restaurants from automatically giving straws to customers to reduce plastic waste. However, the law also requires restaurant staff to provide straws when customers ask. For people with disabilities and chronic illness, plastic straws can be a necessary accommodation to make everyday activities like eating or drinking accessible. Which is true, and what this writer fails to point out is that straws were invented for disabled people, for people who had swallowing difficulties and aphasias and things like that. So, not only are we entitled to straws, if it wasn't for us, there would be no straws. So, to deny this young lady a straw is bad enough. But then she goes and she explains the situation to the manager. Finally, I ask for a manager, and the waitress looks pissed as hell, but goes to get them. The manager heard me out, handed me a straw, then turned to the waitress and he whispered, "People like that aren't worth it. Just give them a damn straw." You know what? I think I'd probably sue on this one. I've become quite litigious lately. I've never been a litigious person up until the last 2 years. And I'm starting to get sick and damn tired of the way that I am being treated in certain situations and the way that I see other people being treated. We live in this era of like, I'm going to do as much as I can to not have to be a decent human being when it comes to business and other arenas. And I'm not saying everybody's like that, but if you guys dealt with the slumlord we just dealt with, and then hearing stories like this, and the crap that they did to Damon at his job a couple years ago, which we sue for and were victorious because they were completely in the wrong. And I think there's this misconception in America that everybody sues for every little thing. There's been so much stuff in my life that I could have sued for, including my mother's death. And I just was like, that's not going to be healthy for me or anybody else around me. But in a situation like this, discriminated against, yeah, I probably would. Or at least, go on social media like she's doing and make a stink out of it and drop the name. And I had a mishap at a hotel a few weeks ago where they accused Damon of smoking weed in the room and somebody of smoking cigarettes in the room. And we were just like, nobody smoked in this room. Nobody smoked anything in this room. But it was their word against ours. They charged, they had $100 deposit, which we didn't understand why, because they had no amenities that would require that. But anyways, long story short, it's their word against mine. And so I went on Google and on Yelp and, said my thing about it, and then also called my bank to reverse the charges. But yeah, just a lot of, I don't know, maybe it's me. Maybe I've just had bad luck lately or whatever with companies and stuff. But anyways, Michelle's going to be calling soon, so I don't want to get completely stuck on this. Back to this story. A lot of people are saying that they need to ban plastic straws because they get caught in the machinery and they can't really be destroyed that easily or whatever. But they always give you these paper straws with a plastic wrapper on them. So are they thinking that, the plastic wrapper isn't going to cause a problem? Because they're going to send it on a barge to another country that they pay to take care of our trash. It's going to get lost along the river, and it's still going to end up in some pelican's freaking gut. So, all these people with this recycle, don't understand what really happens to that stuff. They think that, like, oh, they're making new tennis shoes, and they're making new toilet paper, and they're doing this, and they're doing that. Yeah, those are private companies that are doing that, and the rest of the stuff. And usually they do it as a gimmick to get yuppies and $200 hemp tivas to pay for their $7 per roll toilet paper that scratches your house like tree bark. So it's a racket. And you don't believe me? Do some research into it. I used to be, I still do recycle just because I like sorting. And I'm hoping that it'll do some good. But I did some real deep research into recycling and what's happening with the wildlife with all these barges of plastic they're sending across the ocean. And I don't like it. I don't think that we should be able to take our waste and destroy the ocean and give it to a third world country because they're desperate for money. I think it's bullshit and it needs to stop. That's my Rawrr of the day. Well, that's one Rawrr of the day, possibly. We'll see. Okay, so the waitress acts like an asshole. The manager acts like even a bigger asshole. And the girl ends up leaving. Her father followed the manager and began yelling at him. And Alessandro's girl said she left the restaurant with her mother. We hadn't even ordered yet, so we just left. I'm really upset, she wrote. Straw ban is bullshit. It's just an excuse for ableism. A waitress should not get to decide if I'm validly disabled or not. And I agree 100%. And other people are like, well, why can't you just use disposable straw or reusable straws? Why can't you carry your own straws? And they're making other suggestions, and it's not her job to be accommodated for her disability. Some person on Twitter clapped back and said, do you know how much stuff we already have to pack and take with us? Like now we have to start carrying our own straws. And I agree. And they're missing the point. The point isn't that there are solutions, because there probably are solutions. The point is that it's not her responsibility. The restaurant should accommodate her and they should keep their mouth shut. This happens a lot I see social media stuff a lot where people shame people for parking in the handicap spot because they don't think they look handicapped enough. If someone ever did that to me, they better watch out because you don't know. You can't tell. Oh, Michelle's calling. All right, I'm going to get off that. The straw thing was stupid, and let's see what Michelle has to say. Well, hello. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
I was just talking about how a young girl was denied a drinking straw from a restaurant because they're trying to ban the plastic straws, And
Right.
she had a disability. She has Ehlers-Danlos, like we do, and it hurts her and it pops her fingers out to pick up the glass that's too heavy for her. And the waitress denied her the straw.
Wow.
And then when she brought it to the manager's attention, the manager told the waitress, like, don't just give these people like this what they want. They're not worth it. And They actually told her she didn't look disabled and all this other crazy stuff.
Oh, that's not cool.
And I was saying how, people get attitude at handicap parking spots too, because people don't think they
Oh,
look
yeah.
disabled enough, or you know.
I always get that. I get that feeling when I pull into my controller's spot. I'm thinking, I'm going to get out of the car. I don't look disabled. Well, I mean, I've got a boot on my foot, but, I get that feeling every time I pull into a spot.
You have this gigantic.
I'm going to say something.
What is it like? What is it made out of? Fiberglass? You've got this huge boot on your foot.
Yeah, I know. But still, I feel that because I don't look. To me, I just don't. I feel like I'm not disabled.
Right.
There's days I feel disabled. There's days I don't feel disabled. There's the days I don't feel disabled that I have a really hard time parking there, and sometimes I won't do it.
Right. Well, let's tell them what's going on with you, because for like over 20 years you had your own hair salon, and
Right.
your business was successful, and then you started having foot pain. And what is this, like 2 years ago?
Oh, I've had foot pain for quite a while. I just always thought it was bad shoes.
That's right.
I never find the right shoes.
You kept switching your shoes around. I remember that.
Yeah. So I always just thought it was just the wrong shoes, and I just had my appointment with the podiatrist, which is a normal annual appointment, and I had 2 weeks prior. I was walking out of the store one day, and all of a sudden got this really bad pain in my foot, and I thought, oh, I'll just wait. I'm going to the podiatrist in a couple of weeks.
Right.
And when I went to the podiatrist, I told her about it, and she did an X-ray, and they found it's called Charcot. I can never pronounce it right. Charcot syndrome, or Charcot foot.
Charcot. Yeah, that's the way I saw it, was Charcot or Charcot foot when I looked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's basically where the bottom of my foot is turning into a rocking horse base, and my bones are disintegrating at the bottom of my leg.
So your bones are just basically turning into powder.
Or what?
Your bones are basically turning into powder.
Yes, the bottom of my leg.
Right. And now, from what I read about this syndrome, is that it could go to the other foot. Is that true?
I did read that as well. I guess it could, but the doctor wasn't too worried about my other foot. It's not something that spreads. I guess it's just something that.
Right, could happen to you.
It could happen in the other foot as well. But the weird thing is now that I've been wearing this boot, is that I can actually feel the bottom of my foot doing this.
Oh gosh.
It's really disturbing.
I
can feel the bottom.
That's a good word, because I'm feeling the different pressure in my brain. I don't know if it's because we moved here, but we're still at kind of sea level. It's not like we went to elevation or whatever. But I understand what you're saying, because, just, when David was massaging me yesterday, he was getting up near the base of my skull, and I'm like, don't touch the hole in my head. It's just gross. It just creeps me out. It's just freaky, and I don't want you feeling that. Ugh. So we have to live with that, knowing that we have parts of us that are missing, or, we're never there when they were supposed to be there, or extra, like my extra ribs that I have. But you're right, it is a creepy, because you almost feel like this is really fucking bad, and there's nothing I can do about it, and I can feel activity in there now.
Right.
Yeah, it's scary.
It is. It is.
And people don't, they call it invisible illness, and it's bullshit. It's not anybody else's business to get, this girl had to tell the waitress her diagnosis to try to get a straw. It's like...
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, and I thought the law was you're not supposed to give out straws, but if they asked, then you could.
Right. Now, you're a former waitress. I don't know
if she even had a problem with giving her out one, and she asked for it.
Right. See, that's what we're not understanding either, because, you're a former waitress, and you know that the glasses don't always get clean around the rims. So I will not drink out of a restaurant glass without a straw, because, I've got rules in life. And so, and some people are fine because they're not freaks. So they're like, that's, David doesn't drink out of a straw. He's like, whatever.
I'm fine.
Yeah. So
I live with two cats who are disgusting. They give me kisses all the time. So.
Yeah. So I always ask for one, and I thought that was the law as well. If you ask for one, they can give you one. But it's like kind of like with the water conservation. They're not going to set water out on the tables anymore, but if you ask, they're going to gladly bring you some water.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what this waitress's problem was anyway, so.
Huh. Where did this happen at?
You know what? I'm not sure, and I already put the article up,
Okay.
but it's all over social media right now. People are outraged about it.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, do we really think plastic drinking straws are going to save the planet? I don't know.
I know. Well, it's like the plastic bags. Weren't they supposed to go away completely? Now they just have to pay for them.
Well, now they're back in some places.
Yeah. They're back everywhere. I've never seen them go away.
Oh, they were gone in Santa Cruz. At first, you had to pay for them.
Okay.
Yeah, at first they had it where we could pay for them, and then they had it where they just were gone, and you had to pay for the paper. And you had to pay a quarter for the paper, and the paper bags were flimsy. They rip down the side, the handles break off. You can only put like 2 or 3 items in it. So, yeah, I can't imagine being a tourist and coming to Santa Cruz and purchase, going into, like, say you need sundries at Walgreens, and you go in and you have your sun protectant, and you have whatever you're buying, snacks for your kids, and you get up to the register with a whole cart of things, and then no one offers you a bag. Wouldn't that be confusing?
Yeah.
You wouldn't know if it was like, are they going to pack this for me? Do I just stand there? And then the cashier, I've seen this happen, the cashier will be like, okay, we're all done. And the person just looks like really confused.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
And I like the idea of bringing your own cloth bag. If you remember, I'm not one of those people that ever remembers.
I never remember. I have a great bag though that my sister-in-law made me that you actually folds inside itself, and you can put it in your purse, and it's really small. I mean, but it folds out to a big enough bag where you can get stuff in it. Right. And it's a great bag, but I always forget to put it in my purse.
Well, yeah, and once you take it in and you unpack it, you don't think I should put this right
back in your purse or put it right back in your car.
Nah. Damon's really good at that, though. He's always going around and grabbing up the cloth bags and stuff before he goes shopping. I'm like, well, you go, Granola, because I don't really care. The way I look at it, I'm going to be dead soon anyway. What do I care if the planet fucking explodes?
Don't say that.
Why? What does it matter? We're only here because we have to save it for the future. Don't people realize that we've had ice ages? What shit's going to happen when it happens with the universe? Like, we're pretty arrogant, I think, when it comes to that. Like, we've had mass extinctions, but we're causing it with our straws. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that.
We're diverting back to apes, the caveman, the way that we are with cell phones.
We are. There's that movie out there. Yeah, there's that movie out there. Have you seen it, Idiocracy?
I haven't seen that, no.
Oh, you got to check it out. It's a comedy, and it's kind of like, it's not like a high-cost production film or anything, but it's supposed to be just one of those get into your beta wave, this is kind of a stupid movie, but when you watch it, you really start tripping on it because it's true, and it basically, well, I'm not going to give it away because I want you to watch it, but it basically, you end up with a group of people that aren't very bright, and it shows what could happen if we continue going in the direction that we're going, and by dumbing ourselves down and not connecting and communicating with each other the way that we should be.
Right.
Yeah, but
basically we're going back to caveman.
Yeah, like one of the things. Right. One of the things they have in there is they take all the water away because the Monsanto kind of company wants to get everybody hooked on Gatorade. So all the plants die because you can't grow plants with Gatorade, right?
Right.
So that's the people are raised on like Gatorade or some kind of a punch or something. They think water is evil.
Oh wow.
All right. Yeah, it's a trippy movie. It's a comedy. You should check it out. You guys should watch it if you haven't seen it. So what's new on the dating scene.
Nothing for me, at least.
Not lately,
I've
huh?
had my share. Not lately, no.
I was telling them earlier that you and I have done a couple episodes on dating, but the sound quality just wasn't good enough, which is sad. So,
Right.
but we'll just fall right back into it.
Sure.
We've told these stories to each other enough. Why don't you tell like your weirdest story? And don't say too much because I don't want to edit too much.
My weirdest.
Internet dating story.
My weirdest internet dating story. I don't know what the weirdest is. They all have their own little quirks of some sort.
I think the smoker is weird.
You think what's weird?
The smoker guy. I think that story is just really weird.
Oh.
Frequent flyer.
How do you call that? What do you call it with the Kevin Bacon thing?
The 6 degrees of separation?
Yeah, right. The 6 degree separation. Well, this guy, I started dating, I saw his profile, and he seemed like a really nice guy, and he taught special ed. And I thought, well, who couldn't be a nice guy to teach special ed? So,
right, you're either a really nice guy or you're a molester. Like, there's no in between.
Right, right. Or you're very lazy. Because that's what he was. Because the only time I ever hear from him is when he was teaching. But he ended up dating 2 other people I knew, or 3 other people I knew. I don't remember offhand, but in one of them, and I just happened, one of them said, hey, we have this new person starting school. She's going to be teaching with us, blah, blah, blah. You should I met him. And he's going, no. I'm going, that sounds real familiar. And I said, what's his name? And she tells me, I'm like, oh, no way. And then I have another friend, about 6 months later, tells me that she had met somebody, and this is like up north. So this one, other one was down here this way. This other one is up north. And she starts talking about it. I'm like, and I asked her what his name is. It's the same person. I'm like, so yeah, he got around, And then I found out afterwards that he was married.
Of course.
Yeah. And so yeah, he was a scumbag.
Now, didn't he have someone from Southern California as well?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the Southern California one, but because there was one Southern California, there was one here in Gilroy, and there was one up north, and I'm trying to remember the Southern California, and I don't know why I can't remember that one now.
So then I'm playing, right, and then I'm playing Where's His Friends, and I get a friend request, and it's this guy, and I was like, he messaged me, and he said, would you mind playing a game with me? And I said, well, how did you even find me? My contacts are hidden. And he was like, oh, I'm a friend of Michelle's. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll play a game of words with you or whatever. So we played, and then he sent me a message one day, and he was like, I want to meet you for coffee. And I'm like, I'm in a relationship. I'm not interested. I'm here to play words with friends, not date. And he was like, oh, you could bring your husband or your boyfriend. And I'm like, why would my boyfriend and I want to go have coffee with you? And he kept bugging me about it. And I would always ask him, why do you want to have coffee with me? I just didn't understand it.
Right.
So,
yeah. He's a freak. He also liked you to send pictures. He wanted to see a picture of you smoking if you smoked. He had some oral fetish. Because my girlfriend who had met him up north actually said that he had left. They were in a hotel partying or something, and they had he was messing around with her friend, and she had gone into the hotel room to get something, and his computer was there, and nobody else was in there, and she looked at the computer, and there was pictures, like hundreds of pictures of different girls smoking cigarettes.
Oh my God, how bizarre!
Yeah.
Everybody has their thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I took Words with Friends off my phone because, number one, it's not Scrabble. They let people get away with words that are ridiculously not words.
They're not. Yeah, I agree.
And there's so many cheat apps out there, and if you know who your friends are, and if if they're doubling your score and you've never really been beat in real life, then you pretty much know they have a cheat app, and I hate that.
Right.
It's annoying.
Right. I have a girlfriend who uses a cheat app, and she's very, very honest about it. I'm like, well, that's not playing fair. She goes, "I'm fair." I'm like, okay.
But it's not fun. Yeah. It's not fun.
So that's why you didn't give me back when I requested it. I did a friend thing to you. You don't have it anymore.
Oh, I took it off for like a year, and then about a month ago, I put it back on, and I played it for a few days, and I also noticed that it was like a big drain on my battery too, so I was like, forget this thing.
Oh, maybe that's why my battery's been so.
But yeah, when I popped back on about a month ago, he was there.
Yeah.
Wanting to play a game and go to coffee. I'm like, you're weird. All right, so I'll tell you my most like arrogant guy internet date, and then you can tell me yours. So I met this guy. I was living in Gilroy at the time, and but I was planning on coming back to Santa Cruz. So I was dating in Santa Cruz, and I met this guy who was a surfer and a surf photographer, and he was good looking and had a fit body and all the good stuff, and took beautiful pictures. His website was gorgeous, and I was really excited for this date. And he was like, "Oh, you want to go to the Shadowbrook?" And I'm like, "No, that's really, really expensive for a first date, and that's too much for me." And he was like, "Are you sure?" Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "Yeah, let's go meet at like, I don't know, IHOP or something,
Right.
Something a little bit more reasonable. So we met at this place, and he was like a sun-dried tomato, my friend. He was not the same person as he was in the pictures. So then we're sitting there, and we're like chatting, and he was like, "Yeah, I saw some stuff at the flea market on the weekends, and blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, I thought you were like a surf photographer and stuff. He's all, "Oh yeah, well, quite honestly, I haven't done that a couple of years," and da 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 da. And I'm just like, "Oh my gosh." So we sit there, and I'm trying to get through it just to not, be a complete ass. And he says, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'll get the tip." And I just looked at him, and I'm like, "Get the tip," and he was like, "Yeah, I don't mind pitching in." I was like, this jackhole wanted me to take him to Shadowbrook on my dime,
Yeah. First it was okay. Let's go to Shadowbrook. You're paying.
Well, it was just like such a letdown because, like I said, he wasn't even my type of guy, but he just seemed interesting and world traveled and good looking enough. I mean, other girls would have really thought he was attractive, and then I get this bumola. So I go and I go and tell him I have to go to the bathroom, and I give the waitress $20, and I'm like, "This is for my half and the tip," and that guy's on his own. I told her what he was basically trying to do, and I split it. And he had the nerve to call me like the next day or message me and be like, "Oh, I can't believe you just dined and dashed," and I'm all, "I didn't. I paid my half, you cheap bastard."
One was my the world-renowned artist.
Oh my god, I love this story. Okay, we're back. So he used to what?
He used to talk about himself in the third person. And he would call me every day at like 5:32. I mean, it was never 5:35 or 5:40. It was 5:32.
How weird.
And so it's just weird. But so when I met him, first off, he had messaged me on one of the sites, and he didn't have a picture up there, and it said he was 5'4". And I'm thinking, nah, he can't really be 5'4". Something's wrong with that. And because what guys do that are 5'4", really, And so we're talking, and he had sent me a picture. He was decent looking. He kind of reminded me of Geraldo Rivera.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And but then I'm like, how tall are you? And he's like, "Oh, I'm 5'4". I'm like, holy shit. I'm thinking, okay, 5'4". Well, you know what? It's not about looks. It's about personality. We're going to meet for dinner. And so I asked him, we're going to meet in Fremont because he lived in Berkeley and, I was here.
Yeah.
And so I said, so how should I dress? where do you want to take me to dinner? And he goes, well, I might should I wear jeans, should I wear dresses? Well, I don't own jeans. Who doesn't own a pair of jeans? You know,
I
I'm
don't
thinking,
know.
okay, little snooty there, you know, I don't wear jeans. Well, he takes me to freaking IHOP. Or, not IHOP, Applebee's. He wanted to go to IHOP, but I have too many kids there. So we went to, it was just too crowded
So
and too
you
noisy.
thought,
We went to Applebee's.
you thought you were going to go somewhere nice because he was like, oh, no jeans. We need to dress up a little bit. What a
Freaking
weirdo.
Applebee's.
For that 2 for $20, Michelle, you can't be.
I mean, he was just, and then when we're at the restaurant, he was embarrassing as all hell because he was rude to the waitress because she wasn't filling his coffee cup fast enough.
I hate that.
And I'm like, wow. I mean, to the point where when we were leaving, I went to the bathroom and slipped the waitress a 20 because I knew he wasn't going to tip her. He said he wasn't going to tip her because she wasn't filling his coffee cup fast enough.
Yeah.
I mean, he had like 3 or 4 refills by this time already.
Whiny little bitch.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yes. I mean, just horrible person. I mean, it was horrible. And then, you know, he went on to say, like, he had a brother who was gay, but it was like, couldn't be gay, so him and his other brother were going to go confront him because he couldn't be gay because it wasn't a good thing. You know, and I'm like, you're an asshole. I kept thinking of it, you're an asshole, man. But, you know, afterwards, and I can tell we're not clicking, you know, and he only talks about himself. Or about his Roomba. That was his baby, his little girl.
His Roomba vacuum?
Roomba. You know,
Oh.
that's what he called her, his Roomba. And he's talking a lot about his art. And he has some beautiful art. He is a world-renowned artist. And he had to let that be known. But he's also a social worker.
Oh.
You know, that's his normal job. So... don't be surprised if you show up in one of my paintings. I'm like, oh, I don't think so. It was not without my permission.
Right.
You know, and he's just like, all my exes are in my paintings. And I'm like, well, this one's not because we're not exes because we've never been together.
You're like, I'm just eating a steak, asshole. I'm not your ex.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, and then he kissed me afterwards, after the date. And I'm like, okay, you know, whatever. I'm ready to get out of here. And so I went home and I get this email from him saying how, he thinks he's going to continue dating the women that he has dated through in San Francisco. That, you know, they're just more his, I don't know, it was just weird. And I'm like, yeah, you can keep dating whoever you want. It's not a letdown to me. This was like the worst date ever.
That's not your choice, honey.
Right. He was just the most arrogant SOB. I mean, he was just horrible.
You know, I don't know if this is a shorty thing because I had one that I met at the same time that I met that weird surfer dude. It was just like a really bad streak. And I ended up like stopping dating and like just going back to my ex for booty calls for a while because I was like, I can't take this anymore. But I had one whose daddy was a produce farmer in Salinas. And if for people who have watched Storage Wars, you know who Barry Weiss is, that's how he made all his money. There's a lot of money out there, you know, with this Fresh Express and all this, you know, kind of like prepackaged salad and foods and things. And so his dad, you know, he was a richie boy. And so he wanted to go to Monterey. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll drive over there. And he was like, you know, I usually come to people, so if you want me to take care of your gas, I will. But if you'll meet me he lived in Salinas. He's like, if you meet me in Salinas, I'll drive us over to Monterey. And I was like, well, I'll come to Salinas and we'll meet for a drink, and then I'll feel if I'm comfortable enough to go with you to Monterey. How about that? And he was like, yeah, that's the plan. So, you know, and I'm like, and I don't need your gas money. So I drive over there and like, we hang out, and he's short. He's probably about 5'5", you know, and that time I still had like 3 more discs. So I was probably like 5'8", you know, 5'7.5", 5'8"-ish.
Right.
And so, we met, and he was short, but like you, I was like, I'm not a movie star either. And if we're comfortable and we want to continue the date, who knows, you know? And I've always liked, you know me, I always date really tall guys, but I'm like, I'm going to, you know, try new stuff. So I like him. He's cool. And then we go to his car, and of course I'm driving like this old ass Ford Explorer, and that old green one I had, and he's in an Escalade. But he never treated me like he was better than me because he had the money. So we went, and so he was nice in that way. And we went to Monterey. We had Indian food, which to me, all Indian food tastes the same because of the spices. I'm just not into it. Sorry, I just don't like it. I don't think I should apologize for that. I don't like sushi or Thai food either, so suck it. You know how it is when you tell people.
I'm the same way. I'm the same exact way. Indian Thai and sushi. I don't like it.
Yeah, like
There are some Indian food I like, but most of it's like really curried out. So
yeah.
I'm not a big curry fan.
Right, and neither am I. It's just a little bit too spicy for me. There are a couple like potato dishes I like, and anyways, I forgot what I was gonna say now, where I was at with it. But we are having Indian food, and I was, I was like, okay, this is cool. But he just we weren't connecting. He wasn't very interesting, and I've been on dates with other guys too, where they try to use their money to try to make themselves interesting, but I'm like, I don't give a crap about your money. I want to know who you are. I mean, yeah, if I get along with you and you have money, that's a bonus, of course.
Right.
But,
I'm still waiting for the money one. I haven't found that one yet.
Well, they're not all.
This one's going to be for money, damn it.
They're not always that cracked up, like what they're cracked up to be. And I've dated a lot of wealthy men, and I'm, like, on most of them, really. And and plus, he also got his money from his dad, so the fact that he was kind of like he was the president of the company. Yeah, you're the president of the company that your grandfather broke his back to start. So, and I think that's great. Right. Generational wealth is great if you can be successful like that, but don't try to.
Yeah, but most of them are jerks. The generational ones they don't know what it's like to have to work hard to make money.
Right.
Or to survive. They were handed their jobs, and
yeah, it's not like Kent, who I dated on a construction site and met him on a construction site where he was working. He didn't have to work. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, and his family had a lot of money, and he surprised me with that trip to Carmel Valley and at the Robles Del Rio Lodge out there and at Tickle Pink Hotel that's overlooking the bluffs of gosh, I can't remember the name of the city right now, but anyways, I was no, we had the ranch was in Carmel Valley, Big Sur, and then then Tickle Pink Hotel is like on your way going through like Big Sur past the Penth and all those places out there, and like the Pfeiffer State Park Beach and all that. It's out there.
Right.
So he took me out there for a long weekend once, and then I realized, and then that's when he told me his family owned all that, and I was like, what? I thought you were like some construction dude, which is fine, which was great for me. You had a job. And you you can tell you worked out hammering in the sun all day with your hot little body. But anyways, I digress. This guy was just boring, and no amount of money wasn't going to make him boring. So I was really kind of ready to go because I wasn't feeling the food, I wasn't feeling him, and I knew it was like a half an hour back to the car. But then he wanted to go to this martini place where all they made was all these different types of martinis. So I was like, all right. So we went in and had a flavored martini, and then then we were ready to go, and he didn't want to drink too much because he was driving. And I was like, okay, great, let's go. But then when we get back to Salinas, instead of going back directly to his house, he stops at this like little country and western bar and parks. And he's like, well, let's just go in and have another drink. And I'm like, actually, I'm really kind of ready to go home. And I don't know why I kept letting this guy persuade me, like, just stay around him when I didn't want to. I guess I felt like maybe he was lonely, and I felt like, well, it's not the worst. I'm not having the worst time,
Right.
So we went in there and we had another drink, and then he was like, okay, I'm ready to take you back to your car. And I'm like, okay, great, finally. So we get back to his house, and I'm walking over to my car, and he was like, well, I noticed you didn't really eat that much food at the restaurant, so why don't you come in and, and I'll just make like a cheese platter or something. And I am kind of hungry, and I'm like, I should probably have something to eat before I just had some whiskey. I should eat something before I drive.
Right.
So I go in, and then we get in his kitchen, and he doesn't have anything. He's all, oh, I have a frozen pizza. And I'm like, no, that's all right. Can I just eat one of these bananas? And he's like, yeah. So I'm sitting there and I'm eating the banana, and he comes out of, I swear to God, Michelle, he leaves, he excuses himself in the bathroom, and he comes out and he has like a toothbrush in a package. And he's all, oh, I just thought I would offer this to you in case you wanted to stay the night because I don't like anybody using my toothbrush.
Wow, that's presumptuous. Is that the word?
Yeah, it was really strange. And then, so you know how direct I am. Finally, I just cut the crap, and I'm like, I'm all, have you been having fun tonight? And he was like, yeah, I've been having a great time, you know. And he's like, I really feel the connection. And I'm like, honey, yeah, I'm very bored. I'm sorry. I don't want to be rude. And he's, started getting is it my height? Da 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 da. And I said, you don't even go there with me. Like, I spent all evening with you trying to drag anything interesting out of you that I possibly could.
Right. There's not anything there.
Right. So all the money in the world isn't going to make up for your personality and the fact that you're like 3 feet tall, shorter than I am.
Right.
You have to have something.
I mean, he was just, some of the short men have the short man syndrome, where it's just, they think that they're all that. That was mine. He just thought he was all that.
He was just opposite of it.
Oh.
Gosh, I don't know, man. I've went on a lot of dates on the internet because it's easy just
right.
And now I've been in a relationship and I wasn't dating during the whole Tinder when that app came out, so I've never ever signed up for Tinder or used it.
I haven't either.
Isn't that more of like a booty call?
Though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you know?
On Tinder, and I'm like, I have to talk with him. Please don't be on Tinder, like doing what people on Tinder do, because you're asking for trouble later on down the line. Like, just find somebody, get a friend with benefits, but don't go on hook up with anybody. Just don't do that. I said your thing's gonna fall off if you do that. He's like, no, because I just do it actually for entertainment. He goes, I never actually met anybody from there, but he does it to entertain. He goes, it's my entertainment when I'm bored. I'm like, that's me.
I know, but like I think that I've heard stories of people who don't even talk. They, especially like on Grindr. And hey, all you gay men out there, I love you. But I have read all the Amistad Moped books. I was in San Francisco in the 80s, and I had my ex-boyfriend warn me about not stopping at the Vista site resting point up by 280 in San Francisco because that's where men go to touch peepees. So I have seen it with my own eyes while walking my dog that cars will pull up to the rest stop, they'll just sit there, and then another will pull in next to a car, and they'll look at each other, and then one guy will hop in another guy's car, and they just take off together. I've seen it. So with Grindr, I mean, you're grown men, you can do what you want. And men have a really high sex drive. So I imagine, most men that I know have a really high sex drive. So I can imagine that, two gay dudes are just loving life together. But, it's just a fact of life. But that's kind of so when Grindr came out, I was like, oh, that's kind of a convenient way. You don't have to go meet in bathhouses or, But I never expected, I guess it's sexist of me, but I never expected, for heterosexual people. And now they're out there and they're just like swiping and fucking.
Right. Exactly. Which is so scary.
Yeah.
If you think about that, it's scary. I mean, just as it is today's day and age, if you don't use protection, even sometimes if you use protection, you're still at risk for certain things.
For sure.
But it's like, it's scary to think that, and what's funny is that And it's not even the young kids that worry about it, it's the kids, it's people our age. You know, people who grew up not having to worry about it as much, and so they just never got, you know,
right.
never, you know, and so they still don't use protection. And it's like, that's scary.
Yeah.
I just like, you know, you have your friends with benefits. I've always had a friend with benefits, always. You know, and
you have
the same person you know. It's just like.
Did you just say you have always had a friend with benefits?
I've always had a friend with benefits, yes.
You have one currently?
When I use them when I need. Huh?
I use them when I need them. I love it.
When I need them. When I'm not dating anybody.
That's girl power right there, bitch. Yes.
So, it's just, yeah. I mean, there was a point that I had 3 of them at one time.
Oh my God.
I had them forever, you know. But, yeah.
No hoe shame in here. Yeah, I wouldn't go. I said there's no hoe shame in here, you know.
No, not at all.
No, do what you want, have fun, but be safe. Yeah, if I'm even contemplating being intimate with a man and he tries to pull that no condom stuff, I'm like, I ran out of there faster than, you know, a marathon runner. Because it's just like, you have no self-respect, bro.
Right.
If you're going to be doing that to yourself, and you have no respect for women to try to even, like, be like that. But
right.
I'm glad I don't have to worry about that anymore. Dating, really, you know. I went on that Damon was the 25th. I went on a mission. I suggest a mission for you, because I think you need a nice husband.
I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, I'm 50 years old next month.
Yeah.
50.
Still young.
I'm going to be that spinster lady with the cat. I'm going to grow old like that.
You can't.
There's nobody out there, I don't think. I
come
went on
on.
a dating site recently, and I'm looking at these, and you know me, it doesn't have to be about looks, okay? I am nowhere to talk when it comes to looks. So these guys are frankly, just, I can't even look at their pictures.
What? What app are you on seeing these ugly men?
There's all these different ones. I tried a couple of different ones. Well, and I went on, I'm trying to think of the name of them. Something Cupid.
Okay, Cupid.
Something Cupid. I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah, it's Okay Cupid. My cousin Mike and his beautiful wife Kristen met on that.
Oh, is it? Yeah. And then, there's
Plenty of Fish. POF.
Harmony?
Oh, eHarmony. That's a pain in the ass. They told me I had no matches, but.
Oh, that's funny.
I was all, this is too Christian of a dating site, you know. They exclude our gay friends, so fuck them.
It was one of the sites for bigger women, BB People Meet or something like that. I think because that's what I used to use.
BBW People Meet Up or something
like that. Yeah. But I'm looking, and I like usually guys that are about 10 years older than me. Well, I can't do that anymore. You know, the guys I'm looking at, I'm thinking, oh, he's cute, you know, he's not bad looking. They're all like in their early 30s.
There you go.
I can't do that. It's like, you know, robbing the cradle there. Just like,
40s.
But the guys that are in their 50s and 40s, I mean, what happened? These guys are just scary looking. I mean,
they look like Dad.
No, your dad at least actually took care of himself.
No, I'm not saying my dad. I'm saying they're old. They look like dads, because you know.
Oh no, they don't look like dads. They're scary looking. They look like they've been sitting in the closet smoking meth too long.
Oh gosh.
I moment, and it's like you're taking a picture for your dating profile.
Right.
At least make yourself look presentable. I mean, there's nothing. They're wearing these t-shirts with holes in them, and their teeth are all jacked up, and their hair's a mess, and I'm thinking, where did you come from? You know?
Oh my gosh.
There's no self,
from a crack alley. They came from a crack alley.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking, that's scary. That's what the generation that's what I have to look forward to.
Nah.
You know, for older. I mean, I went on to the sophisticated older men with the gray hair that just, you look at them,
they're out there.
Now. I don't know, but they're not on the
Sam
dating site,
Elliott.
that's for sure.
Sam Elliott type. Well, I got pretty lucky.
I think the dating sites have become more of a hookup for all of them.
Right.
I don't think there's anybody on there seriously looking for, at least the ones I'm going on, because I have a few girlfriends who got married on these sites. They found great men, and I go on and I try the same sites and I don't find them.
I don't know. Maybe it's your profile or something. I'll help you look at it. Kevin, Bill, and I all met our partners on POF. I got pretty lucky with Damon because he doesn't look all old and stuff. I don't know. We're coming up on the hour here, but maybe we should try doing a speed dating. We could do it for the show. You and I can go. For like
I don't know. I think I'm good with being alone.
Well, hey, what's that? What's that dating site for old people?
I know.
Our Time? Is it Our Time?
We should start a dating site. And we're not old. 50 is not old. That's like the new middle age.
I know, but that's what they say at Our Time for 50 and over.
Yeah.
I can't remember the little jingle. That's ridiculous.
Right.
You know, we could start an exclusive dating service for people who are over 50. Because you're right, it is a little bit tougher as you get older, and as you know, because you've been on the sites, the young guys are really interested in the older women, but they don't have anything to offer us. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they want a mommy. I don't want to take care of anybody's baby. I took care of mine. I raised mine. He's grown. And I don't want to have to do that with a man either. Yeah. I don't want to have to train a man the way I want him. I want somebody who had a mother who taught him right. Who taught them how to be a man.
Yeah, good luck with that.
That's harder to find than I think.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Hard to find too.
I got 2 hippies here that I'm training on when I'm not even dating. He's just my co-host. All right.
I don't want to have to train anybody.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, we're 59 minutes and 20 seconds, so we're almost at the end of the hour. Thanks for coming on. Time flies when we talk.
Thanks for having me.
Time flies when we talk.
I know.
Well, call in maybe next week, and then we can record a couple shows that we could continue, because I know you have lots of juicy stories to be told.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Michelle. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Well, that was super awesome of Michelle to call and put herself out there like that, her private information. Dating's tough. If you guys are having dating problems or have any suggestions for maybe how Michelle can attract that classy, distinguished older gentleman who hasn't been sucking on the glass dick, give me some comments or something on the Facebook page, Giazilla Show. Facebook.com/Giazilla Show. Wade and I can be found on Twitter at Giazilla Rawrr and at Wade Rawrr. And Rawrr, as usual, is RAWRR. Thanks to IPMNation.com for hosting our crazy podcast. And to all of our listeners, we love you. And Wade will be back shortly. And look for us on Facebook for a live. We're planning on popping out and scaring you on our live show soon. So, peace and love and light to all. Be careful out there while dating or while dining. And if you get any attitude for your disability, stand up for yourself. Likewise, if you see somebody getting attitude for their disabilities, it's okay to punch someone in the nose. Tell them I said so. Just kidding. I don't like violence. Shh, punch him in the nose. All right, good night, you all.